primary strategy that Israel's enemies is using against her in this political battle is delegitimization. Last April 20th, Durban II opened in Geneva. Given the dramatically anti-Israel, anti-Western, and anti-democratic proclivities of the UN and its conferences, it should have come to no surprise to anyone that Iranian President Ahmadinejad was invited to open the substantive program so that he would have yet another opportunity, a global opportunity, to deny the Holocaust, defame Israel as a racist government, assert that Israelis are racist perpetrators of genocide, and claim that Israel had been founded on the pretext of Jewish suffering during World War II. He called for the encouragement and support of all governments in their efforts to eradicate this barbaric racism and charged that efforts must be made to put an end to Zionism. It should also be no surprise to anyone that the following day, UN members rewarded Iran for Ahmadinejad's speech by electing Iran as one of the 3 vice chairs of the committee, chaired by Libya, that adopted the final declaration. This document reaffirms the 2001 Durban Declaration that alleges Palestinians are victims of Israeli racism and mentions only Israel among all 192 UN member states. On June 28th and 29th, the UN Investigating Commission, known as the Goldstone Commission, recorded Palestinian statements at the UNRWA headquarters in Gaza City. It published its conclusions regarding Israel's Gaza operation from December 27, 2008 to January 18, 2009, accusing Israel of violating both international humanitarian law and the Geneva Conventions and committing war crimes. This report all but ignores the deliberate strategy of Hamas of operating within and behind the civilian population and turning densely populated areas into an arena of battle. The statements of Palestinians recorded by the Commission and posted on the UN website provide authentic evidence of the Commission's methodology and raise serious questions about its intentions to discover the truth. Commission members did not ask the interviewed Palestinian questions about the activities of Hamas and the other Palestinian terrorist organizations operating in the Gaza Strip, which could be classified as war crimes or that were potentially dangerous to innocent Palestinians. They never asked about launching rockets at Israeli towns and villages from within residential dwellings, nor did they ask about firing mortar shells into Palestinian neighborhoods when IDF forces were operating in or near the area. They didn't ask about firing anti-tank missiles, rifles, and machine guns at Palestinian buildings in Gaza, suspected of having been entered by IDF forces, despite the presence of Palestinian civilians in the area. Nor did they ask about seizing private homes from which to ambush IDF forces, or booby-trapping houses before and during the war and detonating the bombs, nor planting various types of anti-personnel and anti-vehicle IEDs near houses and detonating them, nor of sniping and firing heavy machine guns at IDF forces within Palestinian residential areas. None of the statements taken by the Commission, as posted on the UN website, reported even one single instance of the presence of armed Palestinians or of armed Palestinians firing rockets at Israel or shooting at IDF forces operating in the Gaza Strip. There was no serious consideration of Palestinian friendly fire incidents, and in fact, they reported that throughout the entire 3 weeks of fighting, there was no significant Palestinian resistance. In the words of UN expert Anne Bayevsky, the Goldstone Commission is nothing more than blood libel. On September 23rd, Ahmadinejad was given the podium at the UN to once again spew his hate and Holocaust denial. And I want to thank Professor Alvin Rosenfeld of Indiana University for for sending me the transcript of Ahmadinejad's UN speech on September 23rd. I'm going to read it to you because it's important for all of us to witness the classic anti-Semitism that was articulated in the UN General Assembly on September 23rd, 2009. Quote, "The dignity, integrity, and rights of the American and European people are being played with by a small but deceitful number of people called Zionists. Although they are a minuscule minority, they have been dominating an important portion of the financial and monetary centers, as well as the political decision-making centers of some European countries and the U.S. in a deceitful, complex, and furtive manner. It is deeply disastrous to witness that some presidential or premier nominees in some big countries have to visit these people, take part in their gatherings, swear their allegiance and commitments to their interests in order to attain financial or media support. This means that the great people of America and various nations of Europe need to obey the demands and wishes of a small number of acquisitive and invasive people. These nations are spending their dignity and resources on the crimes and occupations and the threats of the Zionist network against their will." Aren't we all so glad that the UN exists to defend human rights? On October 16th, the UN Human Rights Council voted to approve a Palestinian-backed resolution after 2 days of debate on the Goldstone report. The resolution passed 25-6, with mostly developing countries in favor and the United States and 5 European countries, Hungary, Italy, Netherlands, Slovakia, and Ukraine, opposing. 11 mostly European and African countries abstained, while Britain, France, and 3 other members of the 47-nation body declined to vote. Russia and China, 2 permanent members of the UN Security Council, were among those voting yes. On November 5th, following a 2-day debate in the UN General Assembly, 114 countries voted for the resolution and 18 voted against it, including Israel, the US, Germany, the Netherlands, Canada, Australia, and several Eastern European nations. Another 44 abstained. Switzerland was the only European country to endorse the report. Russia, which does not often side with Israel in these matters, abstained. As Carolyn Glick posted last month in the Jerusalem Post, the growing power of the UN-based international community is one of the gravest emerging threats to Israel's national security. She explains that this threat stems from 2 sources. First, the UN-led system of global governance is working to redefine international law by, on the one hand, whitewashing war crimes by states associated with the majority, and on the other hand, rendering it illegal for unpopular countries to take action to protect themselves against aggression. Second, and what Glick posits to be the most important, Israel has become the scapegoat of the UN-led international community. The 57-member Islamic bloc has built an automatic majority for its unrelenting and ever-escalating assaults on Israel's right to exist. With Israel's right to exist, let alone to defend herself, being denied in an avalanche of General Assembly and Human Rights Council resolutions, the acceptance of universal jurisdiction is a short step away from turning every Jewish citizen of Israel into an international outlaw. Next Monday marks the beginning of the 6th annual Israeli Apartheid Week that extremists are rolling out with the goal of indoctrinating students to hate Israel. Last year, this hate campaign spread to 42 campuses and extended throughout the month of March. Israel's most virulent